Guys, so we're here. Hi guys.
Hi, welcome back to Truth Be Told. I'm Lexi.
I'm Claire.
And we are going to do a little update video
on what we've been doing so far these past 3 weeks.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, so these past 3 weeks, most of you guys follow me on Instagram and we know each other from church, but I went to the Philippines and I went to Japan. The Philippines and the Japan trip was absolutely insane. I'm so blessed that God, has given me the opportunity to go out and to experience another culture, experience another, what those people are living and how they're living. But I was definitely dealing with a lot of spiritual warfare internally and definitely externally. I rolled my ankle. I got a major bad sunburn. I got food poisoning. There was just so many things going on throughout that trip. But, all glory to God that I'm still here. That didn't knock me down, didn't knock my faith down. I still had faith in God. And although it was a very hectic trip for me, although, things were happening and chaos was happening all around me, my faith with the Lord stand firm. It was on firm foundation.
Yeah.
And so here I am just devoting my time with the Lord now.
Nice. Yeah. So we haven't put forth published, whatever you want to call it, a new video in the past couple weeks, which we want to get on a regular schedule. I think we're going to be posting every week on Tuesdays, we decided.
Taco Tuesdays.
Yes, and Truth Be Told Tuesdays.
Yes, Truth Be Told Tuesdays.
TBT Tuesdays. So, go ahead and subscribe if you want to. We're going to be talking about faith and just life, living as two girls in our 20s.
And just different topics that the Lord is showing us. Because I really do think our young adult season, it has a lot of meaning and impact in our walk with the Lord, just because we're young adults and we're literally learning God's word and learning how to walk with Him and walk in faith and walking aside Jesus and abiding in Him and His truth. There's a little butterfly. Oh, maybe we shouldn't be doing this because I get distracted.
No, it's so cute.
Okay, sorry. Okay, but yeah, us just being girls.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that reminds me. So we also wanted to talk about what we've been up to, or what the Lord has been teaching us these past few weeks since we've been away from YouTube. So for me, I was gonna talk about. So I've been reading this book called Now and Not Yet by Ruth Charles Simmons, and it's really good. I went into it thinking that it was gonna say one thing, but it kind of said something else, or I thought it was gonna confirm one thing for me, but it kind of told me something else. So I'll make this make sense. So in the last couple of chapters, she talks a lot about the need to stay where you're at and stay committed to where you're at. So she tells a story in the last chapter of how she and her family lived in this remote place with not a ton of community, not a ton of church community, and she's obviously a notable speaker, author, and she would love to have lived somewhere where it was closer to community and closer to other women who do the same thing as her. But unfortunately, she just didn't have that at the moment, and so she made the decision to stay where she's at. And I'll get to the whole butterfly thing in a second. But it was just really interesting because I feel a lot of times I'm seeking out new beginnings, or I've just been I don't know, kind of stressed with brand new things. I have a lot of new things in my life.
That's something I have to talk about that too.
Yeah, and they're good things. I think we talked about this last time.
You know what? Because that too. I've been trying to compile a lot of trying to serve the Lord as much as I can, trying to find new beginnings, and being a youth pastor and everything. Yeah. Remember, but I literally when I came back, it didn't feel right. And so now I have to step away from serving. I have to step away from the coffee carts, the Sunday mornings. I just definitely feel the Lord is telling me you need to step away because this pride that's building up is, taking root. And if you want to be humble and if you want to show humility, then you have to step away from these roles so that I can just pour into you and you can abide in me. And then when you're ready to serve, like it's out of humility, you know? And so like I literally like I had so many things like set up for me to be like a youth pastor and I serve at the coffee carts on Sundays and Friday nights and everything, but now I have to like like step away from those kind of roles and those responsibilities because I need to abide in Jesus first. I need to get to know who Jesus is and be the representation of who he is, you know? And so that's definitely what the Lord, you know, but that's because like I was trying to find new beginnings. I wanted to compile with new beginnings, new responsibilities, but I have to stay. Like he's showing me what you're literally speaking to me like
like the
crazy.
Commitment.
Yeah, like I have to stay committed.
It's the sowing the seed before, you know.
Yeah, because he's also showing me that like look what you used to do before without like serving me and all of this, and now you don't do that anymore. Like I would just get home and like if I was like feeling so heavy hearted, like I would just get home, go to my room and just like start worshiping so loud, and I don't do that anymore. Or like I'll just start writing my journal, and I don't do that anymore. I mean, I do that in the mornings, but it's like it's not as consistent as it was before, you know. And so it's because like I tried to compile all of these things, like, well, at least I'm serving you, God. At least I'm doing this. At least I'm helping other people. But it's like no, like I don't care about your works. At the end of the day, I care about your heart. I care about if you know me, you know. And so that's something that the Lord has been like teaching me and telling me that like I need to step back and
it's almost like you've forgotten your first love, you know, type of thing. But
yeah, he's like literally it was so insane because I was like reading a little devotional plan, and it was like talking about abiding in Jesus, and like this verse came up, and it was like talking about like I am the true vine and you are the branches or something like that. And then when I went to like my small group, and I was just like on my way to small group, I was like crying my eyes out, and I was like, I just feel like I need to step away from serving, like this is crazy. And as soon as I get back to or as soon as I get to my small groups, like I got my confirmation through like my mentor and everything. She was just like, you know, we hold everybody else's burdens and everything, but yeah, like it was just so insane. And then like she said something about abiding, and then I was like, oh my gosh, like that's so crazy because like the Lord just gave me that verse to like abide in him and everything too. And it like so many things were just clicking like in my mind that it just all made sense. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I truly do need to step away. And I feel so guilty because like I like they waited for me, you know, like the other church, they waited for me and stuff. And now like I'm telling them like no, you know, and I'm like, shoot.
But if you feel that like conviction, if you feel like it's actually the Lord, then
but I feel guilty, like in a sense, like I'm sorry that I that I just like stepped away, but I really do need to like do this thing because like I'm losing my first love because I'm compiling all of these things and everything. Like I do love Jesus and I do want to follow him and I am following him and everything, but it's at the same time like I'm not doing everything that he wants me to like do, and like I'm losing myself through these works when it's like I need to reconnect with Jesus the most.
And it could be something like, because those are good things, those are godly things, like being a youth pastor, serving at church.
That's what you were saying though right now too, like they're good things, but
like the now and not yet. It's like that's another thing where there's like in that book, I have the notes but with her talking about just the commitment of staying where you're at, I think it's interesting because me personally, like there are certain things where I feel like the Lord has called me to, or certain things that he's told me that I've strove after, but they've like not really like I haven't been able to get to those things. I know I'm really being very vague right now, but for example, like going overseas, like I've tried so many times now to go overseas, but nothing has like progressed. Like even my Europe trip that I was gonna take in September, like everything was planned, but I couldn't do it because like lack of finance, and it's always one thing or the next. Like, so that's something that I truly feel like the Lord has called me to go
Yeah.
overseas, whether that's to serve or I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
But I know it's going to be something that happens eventually, but it's just
Not yet.
not yet right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of, staying where you're at, I just wrote a couple of quotes from the book. So, she writes, "The fight to press in and stay present in your right now is war." I think it's interesting how she says that because it does feel like war when you're like,
Yeah.
I'd rather be anywhere else, which that's not how I feel now. But, you know. And then, she writes, "The story of the nation of Israel is one of often being where they didn't want to be, yet their discomfort with the situation didn't mean they were outside God's plan for them." That was interesting. I'm sorry, I'm just reading all these off.
No, yeah.
They're good quotes. And then on page 170, she writes, "Some of us never get started making the most of where we are because we can't get past what we think we should be." That convicted me. Because, like, wanting to be in a different place, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm losing what I have right now.
Yeah.
Like, right in front of me. Life starts here. It can
become like an idol, too.
Yes, yeah. And even, like,
I feel like it's natural for us to think of, like, comparing ourselves because of social media and everything. We see other people where they're at and everything. We're like, oh, we want to get there, too.
Yeah.
You know, when are you going to get us there, Lord, you know?
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it, like, before, but, like, that's something that I used to struggle with, too, and then I deleted social media, and then, yeah, like, it just went away.
Yeah.
But
making the most of where you're at. And
being grateful.
I know, even, like, me, I get jealous over people who, like, know more of the Bible than me, or, like, stuff like that.
Dude, I know, like, when they memorize the Bible verse, or,
but I'm like, why am I getting so jealous when I could just take the time to learn right now where I'm at, instead of just being jealous?
No, yeah, that sometimes happens to me too. I'm like, dang, they know the Bible. I'm like,
they're like pulling out
lately,
verses.
I'm like, God, like, why don't I get revelation like the way that they get revelation?
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying so hard to understand your word, but I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it, Lord.
But he honors even, like, the striving to know him more.
No, yeah.
Like, he'll,
yeah, the little
he'll
things,
meet you
the little things,
where you're at.
baby steps. He knows it.
And then the last quote on page 171, she writes, "Could it be that the abundance and provision God intends for you will come forth from the soil you're eagerly trying to uproot from?" I thought that was pretty convicting too. One. I was like, oh my goodness. So these are kind of just like random things that I feel like the Lord has been teaching me. Like it's kind of all over the place. These past few weeks have been very interesting, very busy. But yeah.
For me, it's just been like stepping away back from like serving and just not like I got convicted by like one of my mentors, and she was telling me like, and it was so crazy because like my Bible verse of the month for June, it was like Proverbs 17:9. So love prospers when a fault is forgiven, but dwelling on it separates close friends. So that was the Bible verse of my month of June. And like my mentor, she convicted me, and she was like, because I was like just kind of ranting to her about like everything about what was going on in the trip and everything, and then what I've told you about. And then she was just like, well, do you have like love in your heart? And I was like, yeah, I do. And then she was like, then why are you dwelling in the past? Like in the past, like if you truly love, then like why continue to dwell? Like all fault is forgiven through Christ Jesus. And like she knows a lot more information about everything. But I was like, yeah, you're right. Like I don't know why I keep dwelling on the past, like trying to use all of these fancy words to like justify, or like I don't know, like not justify, but like make excuses to like not love, you know, or not show any grace.
Like, oh well, I've been hurt in this way or in this way or in this way, and God sees that, He knows, but He's still like, okay, just move on. I'm doing something new. Isaiah 49? 17. 18 and 19. I should know that. That's been my verse, but I forgot.
Isaiah 49.
Is it 49 or 29?
I think it's 49.
Yeah.
Because I've heard of it before. But I can't figure out what it is.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And so, and that's what I do all the time. I dwell on the past. And it's like, Claire, you already like, because in my Forgiven Set Free class, like literally, it was like the night before, like I gave it to Jesus and I gave it on the cross. I put it in the basket and everything. It's all forgiven. And then the next day I'm like still talking about the past. And then like it was so convicting and I was like, shoot, like I am still dwelling on the past. I literally last night I gave it to God and I'm still dwelling on the past. Like what the heck? And so she like really convicted me. And the Lord's just telling me to focus on the present and focus what he's doing now, you know? And it's like me abiding in him, me getting to know him, and you know, knowing that he's faithful. And the Lord is so crazy because like I fasted the other day too, and I'm like, Lord, like I'm fasting, I'm praying, I'm doing all of these things and nothing is happening. Why aren't you like transforming any hearts? Like come on, Lord. And then the Lord gave me this verse. Like I was reading Mark, and and then it was Mark 3 talking about like blasphemy and like everything, right? And I was like, oh, like isn't there like one verse where like the Bible, like the verse is taken out of the Bibles and stuff? And I was like, isn't that like blasphemy?
Different translations.
Yeah. And I was trying to look for it, but I couldn't find it. And then like the Lord led me to it. And I knew it was about like praying and fasting, but I couldn't remember what exactly it was. But it was Matthew 17:20-21, and it was the verse that was taken out was 21. And but I read the verse before it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like because I was dealing with a lot of unbelief. Like God, like I'm praying, I'm fasting, I'm doing all these things, but like you're not working. Like that stems from unbelief, you know? And so in the verse it says, Jesus said, because of your unbelief, for surely I say to you, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. However, this is the verse that's taken out. However, this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting. And I prayed and I fasted, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I rebuke you in Jesus' name. But I was just like, oh my gosh, I was like, this is like he's assuring me that like he is listening, he is hearing my prayers, and like he sees that I'm praying and I'm fasting, and like he's going to answer, and I just need to have faith. But I'm dealing with this unbelief. And then it was so crazy because was it a podcast that I was listening to? I'm pretty sure it was a podcast that I was listening to, and it was talking about being like Thomas, a doubter and everything. And it was a devotional, and I was like, oh my gosh. And like the Lord was just like speaking to me about like unbelief and stuff. And I was just like, he's like, I see that you're dealing with this unbelief, but have faith in me. Like I see that you're praying, I see that you're fasting and everything. And it was just so insane because like the Lord led me to that verse and everything. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like God, you are so real.
It reminds me of that verse that says, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. That the man told Jesus when he was going to heal his daughter.
His son, I believe.
His son? Because I know Jairus, his daughter, but it wasn't Jairus that said that. Like Jesus healed his daughter, but yeah, I think it was his son.
Yeah, it was.
I love that verse so much.
Yeah, me too, because it just like he wants us to come to him with our unbeliefs, you know, like regardless, you know.
And he knows we're not perfect. Like he knows that we are doubting people, and that you know we might have faith sometimes, but then something comes and rocks the boat, and then we, you know, our faith just dissipates.
Yep, exactly.
But
and that all happened yesterday.
Really?
Yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Yeah. it all happened yesterday.
Wow.
I was just like, oh my gosh, like I have to tell someone.
Yeah.
But I was like, do I tell someone? Like, can I keep
Well,
this
now
secret?
you've told people.
Yeah, I told so many people.
Yeah.
But it was just so insane. And I was just like, okay, Lord, like I trust in you and you're working.
Yeah.
So.
Oh. You got a busy few weeks. I feel like I've just been kind of. Mine was just like boring.
I was dealing with a lot of spiritual warfare.
But also, yeah, you took a big trip. You had a lot that happened there. Spiritual warfare is always a ton.
Yeah. It was so much. It was like,
Yeah.
I was just so ready to come back home.
Honestly,
like it was so draining.
I wasn't going to talk about this on here, but I've been dealing with a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of, like depression and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the past few weeks, which I was hesitating to talk about it because I don't want to, like, get to a place, let's say, like, next week or whatever, where I'm free from it, and then I'm like, oh, I just mentioned that I was struggling with that, and now people are going to look back and think that I'm walking around depressed. But, I mean,
I think we all have seasons.
Yeah, and when you struggle with depression, like, as a diagnosed thing, like, that's just what happened. It just comes every so often, and it goes. But, yeah, so that's been a prevalent thing, definitely these past 2 weeks, I went on a trip last week, and that was, I don't know, putting a little bit of a cloud over the trip. It was still fun, but, and then this week, like, I feel like it was a little cloudy, even though, like I said, there's a lot of good things happening in my life right now, but that just kind of,
you know what, that too, like, when I was on my trip too, like, it's all good, like, everything is all good, like, I'm literally in a different country, like, it's like I'm reaping the blessings, you know, like, yeah. And but I was like, I was still feeling like this has no meaning, like, it doesn't feel like amazing if God's not in it. And lately I've been reading like Ecclesiastes too. What the heck? And I was reading Ecclesiastes, and it talks about how, like, the meaning of life and everything without God in it is meaningless. And I was just like, yeah, like, this is all cool and stuff, but at the end of the day, like, if God's not in it, like, it has no meaning, you know? And that's what was going a lot in my mind, throughout my mind, that throughout that whole entire trip, is that, like, this serves no purpose if God's not in it.
Yeah.
And
I think Ecclesiastes is really interesting because I feel like if you're not used to reading the Bible, maybe you can read it and be like, my gosh, this is so depressing. Why is this in the Bible? But it's actually a book of hope in my eyes, because it's like, yes, he's talking about how everything is meaningless, and, you know, like, everything is the same every day and all this stuff, which I've been kind of feeling a little bit of. Maybe I should go back to Ecclesiastes. But ultimately, like you were saying, he's not saying life has no meaning and therefore, like, that's it. He's saying life has no meaning without God. God is the only, like, one who really gives it meaning. So therefore, it's beautiful because of that. And so, I mean, that's a good book to read if you're feeling depressed or anxious or something, any of those emotions. Or if
you're just, like, idolizing other things in your life, I feel like.
Yeah. Giving a lot of value to, like, work or success, you know, money or talent or anything like that. Yeah, partying.
Drinking, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anything else?
That's pretty much it for me.
Same.
Yeah.
Pretty much it.
Yeah. That concludes our video for today. I pray that you guys are blessed by this video, and, you know, comment, subscribe, like our video, share it, do anything to support our podcast, and leave a comment on, like, what you've guys been up to, and you know, if you guys ever need prayer for anything, like, we are more than welcome to, like, pray for you. And so every Tuesday, look out for every Tuesday, Taco Tuesday,
TBT Tuesdays and Taco Tuesdays. We'll do a campaign. Let the people know.
Yes, for sure. But so yeah, bye guys.
Bye.
Oh my God.